Good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here in this incredibly coveted seat of Devorah Cohen. She's in Israel with a family, Simcha, so it's a privilege and an honor to take her place while she's out. This week's Parsha is Parsha's Pinchas, and we see that we have some of the counting of the tribes, and it's amazing. Do you know that the tribe of Binyamin had 10 children. Dan, the tribe of Dan, had 1, only Chushim. So you'd think Chushim ben Dan, right? That was his name, and he was deaf, right? So you'd think that if the tribe of Benjamin had 10 children and the tribe of Dan had 1, we talk about 7 generations later, in the time of the Jewish people in the desert, who would have more descendants, right? Just basic numbers, basic arithmetic. We know that it's obvious Binyamin would have many more descendants, but yet we count, and it says Elu b'nei Binyamin lemishpachotam ufkudehem 45,600. 45,600. were the children of Binyamin, were the descendants of Binyamin. And then you look at the children of Dan, El bnei Dan l'mishpachotam, arba'a v'shishim, 64,400. There's almost 20,000 more descendants of the tribe of Dan than there is of the tribe of Binyamin. And the obvious question is, how is that possible that here Binyamin had 10 children and he has 20,000 less children, descendants, than the tribe of Dan that had only 1 child? So our sages tell us, and this is an important idea that the Chavetz Chaim brings down, that when a man gains favor in Hashem's eyes, the numbers don't count. We all know people who have not so much wealth, yet they are very successful in their business. You have people who have great wealth and are not so successful. We sometimes associate 1 + 1 = 2, but in truth, 1 + 1 does not always equal 2. 1 + 1 equals whatever Hashem wants it to be. Whatever Hashem wants it to be. Hashem can make 1 + 1 = 1,000,000. Hashem can make 1 + 1 = 10 million. And Hashem can make 1 + 1 = nothing.
It also depends on what success is.
So, well, we're not talking about we're not defining success here. We're defining what in numbers would be a logical result of 1 + 1 would generally equal 2. Not in the world of Hashem. When Hashem wants us to succeed in a certain way, if Hashem we find favor in Hashem's eyes, so it could be out of proportion, totally out of proportion, where it doesn't need to make sense, it doesn't need to equal the number that we think it's going to equal. And here we see that the tribe of Dan found favor in the eyes of Hashem. They had 20,000 more than Binyamin, who started off 10 to 1, and they ended up 20,000 less. So it doesn't always work the way we think by 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't work like that in Hashem's world. If Hashem decides a person is going to have success, it doesn't have to make it doesn't have to make any sense. It doesn't have to add up in our own minds. But if Hashem wills that success will arrive. Now our job in our lives is to have the proper emunah, which is faith and belief in Hashem. And then step number 2 is to have bitachon, is to have the trust in Hashem. To have trust that Hashem will take care of all of our needs. To have trust in Hashem that Hashem will provide for everything that we need. And once we have that, right, the results are not relevant. Because the Almighty will bring about the success we need for our lives. Hashem knows exactly what each of us need. And we will get exactly what our calling is. So That's one of the reasons our sages teach us that jealousy is a terrible thing. Because what is jealousy? Is I want what you have. But Hashem decided that's not what I should have. So why am I deciding to desire what you have when that's what Hashem did not think was the right thing for me? So jealousy is also a terrible thing. A person wants something that Hashem thought wasn't appropriate for them. Why don't you leave it to Hashem? He knows exactly what's good for you. He knows exactly what's right for you. If it's right for you, you'll get it. If it's not right for you, you can try everything in the world, you won't get it. So I think this is a tremendous lesson in emunah, in faith in Hashem, and in bitachon, having the proper trust in Hashem, to allow Hashem to do His share. Allow Hashem. Our job is to put our greatest effort forward. Whether or not that results in the outcome that we desire, that's not relevant. We have to put our best foot forward, put our faith and trust in Hashem, and let the results be as they may. And let's be joyous of it, because that's what Hashem wants us to succeed with. Now, that's not to say that we don't have to put our efforts. We have to put our efforts forward, but we have to put just our efforts forward. We can't bring about the results. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, v'iyata ben chorin libatel mimena. Your job is not to succeed, is not to arrive at the result of success, but your job is to never stop seeking it. So let's go out and get him. Thank you very much for joining us, our dear friends online. We're coming to you live from the Torch Center here in Houston, Texas. You're always welcome to join us here in person, because it's much more exciting. We're going to have questions, we're going to have a conversation, and online it's just a one-way street. So we'd love to have you part of the conversation. You're welcome every Monday at 10 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock. We have class back to back to back. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a magnificent week.